Hi, everybody. I know that some of you are just logging on. I am Carly Valentine, and this is going to be the Braveheart book reading question and answer. And I have a bunch of amazing authors that are here to answer questions that you guys have. So make sure that if you have questions, you either, well, Kat, will you, maybe should I just have them raise their hand if they have a question? Or write it in the chat, one or the other, and then you can let them talk and have the mic.
Um,
What do you think would be the best way?
Probably, yeah, go ahead and leave a question and then we can comb through them.
Yes, that sounds great. So either if you can raise your hand or write it in the chat, then we will get to all the questions and answer them kind of as they come in. I hope you guys enjoyed the readings. All these authors did a great job, and they will be available to watch even after tonight on that same YouTube link if you want to share with people. So I hope you enjoyed them. If you didn't get to finish them, you can always go back. And the same with the kids Braveheart book readings too. And throughout this, we are going to be doing some giveaway announcements too for the big CHD giveaway. So that's super exciting as well. So watch out for that. I think maybe what we will do is start with introductions. So maybe we'll just go down the line. I'm Carly. I am the author of Extra Special Heart, which is a children's book. I didn't read a book tonight because I haven't written any adult books yet, but I hope to in the future. And all these other authors inspire me, and I loved listening to their readings. I have a little boy named Finn that has a CHD called a vascular ring. And his defect is actually similar to Debbie Lewis's that read her book, Kitchen Medicine, tonight. And it's just a different type of vascular ring. So my son's heart defect was a little different. It was affecting his breathing and swallowing. And so he had not only a heart defect, but it also affected his ability to breathe and swallow normally. And so I really relate to Debbie and her book and a lot of the others too, just in different ways. But I really wanted to put this together to empower parents and empower children and kind of create a community of resources for people to turn to when they would like to have something to relate to, basically. So, Kat, do you want to go next and introduce
Sure.
yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name's Kat Hansen. I am a heart mom and an author and podcast host and speaker, CHD advocate. I wrote the book Hope and Courage, 6 Life Lessons from the Parents of a Child with Congenital Heart Disease, with my husband, Tom. Our heart warrior, his name is Harding, and he was born with hypoplastic right heart syndrome, coarctation of the aorta, and transposition of the great arteries. And his journey has had many ups and downs. We're currently even going through a turn in it right now. And um, our passion is to just share hope and courage with other CHD parents, because it can be a very scary and dark world out there, especially in the CHD world, where there's so much just pain and people struggling. And so we wanted to come in and say, hey, there's a way you can get through this with joy, with strength, and be strengthened by it, and your family be strengthened by it. So that's me.
Does Jenny want to go next? Jenny Muscatel?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Jenny. My book is called The Journey of Faith and an Open Heart. And I became a heart mama 27 years ago. And my daughter is actually, well, she's in my corner. Do you want to wave? So that's Faith. She was born with hypoplastic left heart syndrome and a number of other anomalies. And she's had a total of 8 open heart surgeries. And so our journey's been long, and it's also been very amazing and hard and a million different things all rolled into one. So in writing a book, it was really important to me to have our story be out there just to invite people into our walk. I understand that everybody's walk is very different, but a lot of those pieces are very much the same as well, and we connect on the pieces that are the same. And when my daughter was born, it was 27 years ago, and so there really wasn't a lot of support or resources out there. So that was part of why it was really important for me to get her story out. I too have a podcast as well, and am a radio host for Christian Mix 106, and actually just received a new spot on that show to talk about CHD. So I'm very excited about that.
That's so exciting. I can't wait to hear your radio podcast or new radio show for CHD. It's so
Thank you.
exciting.
I'm so excited. It won't be me talking much. It'll be guests, and I love to hear
That's
people's
so
stories. So
that's
that'll be
so
wonderful.
amazing.
Mhm.
Okay, Faith, since she kind of did your introduction, you can go ahead and go next.
Yes, so my name is Faith, and as my mom said, I was born with HLHS, and I've had 8 open heart surgeries. And I co-authored the book called Nellie and Ellie's A Heart Like Mine. And one of the things that I'm so passionate about is obviously CHD advocacy, but really being that resource for younger warriors to kind of come and see, like, hey, you can do this too. And so I am currently Ultimate International Ms. Maine. I founded my own nonprofit called CHD Tablet Talk, and I am so excited to be here tonight. Thank you so much, Carly, for putting this together.
Of course. All right, Debbie, now it's your turn. This is Debbie Lewis.
Hi guys, I'm Debbie Lewis, and I'm the author of Kitchen Medicine: How I Fed My Daughter Out of Failure to Thrive. And I, although of course the thing that brings us all together is this this challenge that connects us of congenital heart disease and congenital heart defects. Like Carly's son Finn, my daughter Sammy, who is now 17. What her biggest challenge came from the way that her aorta affected her ability to swallow. And although she had a lot of the similar kinds of respiratory challenges as Finn, what really was the hardest was getting that kid fed. And so many kids with challenges in congenital heart disease end up with that sort of tag-along diagnosis of failure to thrive, which I, as a mother, found heartbreaking and hard to swallow. It felt like a judgment and of how I parented. And so I wrote Kitchen Medicine to talk about that parent journey. Sammy is 17. If she wants to tell this story, I feel like she will, her story. But Kitchen Medicine is my story, what it's like to be the adult in the room for all of these hard moments that so many parents face. And so just like Carly, I really want to be that mirror for someone who doesn't know if anyone else has ever had that thought, had that fear, had that moment. Yes, of course someone else has. So I'm the best part of this for me is hearing from folks who said, oh my gosh, thank goodness you said that. I was thinking that I didn't know anyone else was. So yeah, this is my book, Kitchen Medicine.
Awesome. All right, Todd, you want to go next?
Sure. I hope everybody can hear me okay.
Yeah.
Cool. My name's Todd Hosey, and my wife Cindy and I, we had our son Daniel was born in 1999, and he was born with hypoplastic left heart and had the 3 surgeries. And it was for us, one, kudos to all of you for your journey and your bravery. We've been very fortunate, I think, that we've actually kind of been removed from the heart issues our son was born with for 20 years. After his 3rd surgery was when he started to physically get stronger. But he was the first child to ever have I can't remember, the Norwood procedure back in the day. And so he lost oxygen to his brain, and so he suffered other you know, other mental disabilities, and he's had the same G tube for 23 years, that location. So I totally remember the days of trying to get him to eat and sitting there for hours. Thank goodness for G tubes. Thank goodness for iPads, because I can't tell you how many VCRs we went through trying to find the one that would make him happy to going through his suffering. And nowadays, technology is great. And but anyway, so our journey, like I said, our prayer was answered. All we prayed for that night before his, well, actually right before he went into his first surgery, was that if he survives, just let him be happy. And he is one of the happiest kids in his own way. And you can't help but get pulled into his laughter. And even though he's watching the Teletubbies in German or something, it's it's funny, but that's just who he is. And anyway, so as I kind of said in my video on YouTube, it was life gets in the way, and I think all of you can relate to that. And so writing a book was always a dream of mine, and I actually continued writing while our son was going through all of his issues early on, but I never published it. And it wasn't until 2017 that I got the idea for Steal the Reaper. And I said, if you're going to write a book and publish it, this is the one you're going to do, because I believed in the story. And it was just fun going through this journey, being a part-time writer. I don't know, I'll give it a shameless plug here. Nothing in my book has to do with congenital heart defects. I think it's the opposite. I think my book is intended to cause heart problems, because it's an action-paced thriller. And so I published the first book, and then the second book comes out in just over a week. So I'm excited about it. So thanks for having me here tonight.
Awesome. All right, Susan, do you want to go next?
I will. I certainly will. I'm Susan May, and my youngest son of 4 was born with a hypoplastic left heart syndrome, coarctation of the aorta, transposition of the great vessels, and a septal defect. And he had 3 heart surgeries and then a heart transplant before he turned 2. And he is currently 33 years old. He will soon be 34 years old in about 6 weeks. And he is happily married and has a darling little girl. She's far better than he ever was. And I experienced all to Debbie. The person I hated the most in the hospital was the nutritionist. If they said I had to wait on the nutritionist, I was out the door. Traffic's bad, got to go home. Because there was so much pressure to perform as a parent, because that was my one job, was to fatten Nick up. And I put an NG tube in and filled him full of fluids before we went in the hospital, just so he'd weigh a little bit heavier every time. But there were tough days. 6 weeks on a respirator in ICU, other kids at home at the same time. And thankfully, most of that is a blur now. Now, the bigger things are live another year. And he's doing better. Things have changed, but he is doing better. And I wrote the book Nick's New Heart when it came out when he was 18. And I decided for his 30th anniversary to do a second edition. And that I thought, oh, this will be a breeze to write, because I write romance novels and write for a living. And he, I found out it was a lot more emotional than I would going to expect, but it did come out on his 30th anniversary. And so it's Nick's Newhart 30 years in counting. So all in all, we're a happy family.
That's awesome. All right, Stacy, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Stacy Monty, and I'm not a heart warrior or a heart mom, but I was invited to be part of the Heart Community Collection by Amy Lee and Jenny Mescatal and Anna Jaworski because I write devotionals and I have my Echoes of Joy devotional series. And they thought that my books would be uplifting and encouraging for other people. And I hope that people are finding them to be so. And I'm just really honored to be part of this community. And thank you for putting this together tonight and inviting me to be a part of it.
Thank you for coming. Okay, Amy Lee, you're next.
Hi, everyone. First of all, let me say I am turning 49 years old this July. I wasn't supposed to live to past the age of 5. And this was all because of my mom. So I want to say that to all you heart moms and heart dads and heart family out there, just thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep fighting and advocating for your child. There's no right or wrong in how you parent. It's just keep going, keep advocating, don't give up. And you're the reason why we're here. So anyways, I am a Vietnam War survivor. I am a CHD warrior. I was born 9 months before the fall of Saigon with an atrial septal defect. Not a very complex defect, but complex in the sense that I was born at a time when there was no medical attention, no service, no personnel, no hospitals, nothing. And my mom, she fought to leave the country to find not only freedom because of the war, but also to find me a surgeon that would repair my heart. So here I am, 49 years old and still kicking, still going strong. And I'm really honored to be a part of this community. I didn't really become a part of the CHD community until actually 2 years ago when I met Jenny and Anna Jaworski, and we formed the Heart Community Collection. Prior to that, I was just kind of bobbling along, doing my thing. And, it wasn't until my mom passed, my mom was my life. It wasn't until she passed that I began to write. And you can see I've got some books behind me and I'm still going strong. And I'm also a founder of Quillhawk Publishing. So we are a hybrid publishing company and we help indie authors get their stories out. So that's me. And thank you, Carly. This is beautiful.
And congratulations. And you gave me chills and I'm going to almost cry.
I'm already crying.
Well, you're hiding it well. Okay, so I think the last person that's joining us for the question or for the answer part is Karen. Karen, are you free to introduce yourself? Oh, I think you're still on mute.
Okay, so I apologize for being a few minutes late. My
You're
daughter
good.
had eye surgery yesterday, so on top of being a heart warrior, so I had to take care of her at her bedtime. So I'm happy that I was able to make it in time. So I gather that we are talking kind of about what inspired our book and introducing ourselves.
Yeah, just kind of a brief introduction would be great.
Okay. I am Karen Schender. I am the author of My Scar is Beautiful. It was inspired by my daughter who was born, I had no idea she had CHD when she was born, but at 2 months, we found out through a whirlwind couple of days when she was supposed to get 2-month vaccinations that she had low-grade fever. So we went to the ER. ER heard a murmur. Long story short, 2 days later, we had emergency open heart surgery for what she has is a very rare form of CHD. 1 in 300,000 kids have it, called L-Kappa. And she inspired me to write the book because I'm very passionate about her growing up proud of her scar and everything that she's been through and wearing it with pride and confidence. I feel like, you know, Amy and Faith, and I know that you two are CHD warriors. I apologize. I'm not sure about anyone else who's present, but you know, I anyone with a scar to wear it with pride and confidence, because you know, everything that you guys have been through is the impossible, and you guys are survivors. And you know, I saw a lot of books out there that are wonderful CHD books, but I wanted to share affirmations of being proud of what you have accomplished and survived. And I didn't see anything out there, so I wrote it. And I wanted to be a positive resource for my daughter and for anyone, CHD or not. It's not CHD specific. It's just inspired by my daughter.
Okay, wonderful. So I think what we'll do now is we can start with a giveaway. And I was going to have you screen share, Kat, but I don't think I will, because I just realized it didn't connect to my iPad. It only has, I guess, on each app, it's only individualized, not per device. So I'm going to start and do a couple giveaways. And let me just pull up the items so I know what we're giving away. So the first, let me find it here. Sorry about that. We had a good amount of entries. We had about 120 people enter the giveaways, and we have 17 items to give away. So we do have a good amount of items, which is exciting. So the first thing we're going to give away is Jenny Muscatel's book. And I actually have that one here. It's The Journey of Faith and an Open Heart. And let me just spin the wheel and see who wins that. I don't know if you'll be able to read it because there's so many entries, but I will read it for us. Okay, and it looks like the winner of that is Tamika. So
Hey,
Tamika, I will email you if you're not on here, and you can get that prize that way. Okay, let's do two more right now. The next winner is going to win. Let me write that down really quick so I don't, because there's so many prizes. Otherwise, I know I'm not going to ever remember. Okay, so the next person is going to win a copy of Kat's book, Kat and Tom, her husband, Hope and Courage, 6 Life Lessons from Parents of a Child with Congenital Heart Disease, and a Hope and Courage t-shirt. So let's see who wins that. And the winner is Savannah Eid, I think is how you say it.
Yay, Savannah.
Congratulations. Let's see here. Okay, and the next winner is going to win a Heart Warrior bracelet. They're really cute. They're just have a little heart you can give to somebody or keep yourself. And it's donated by Love for Littles. And I wish I had mine on, but I don't. Mine fell off. Dang it. Let's see who wins that.
Faith has one.
Oh, Faith has one. There you go, Faith.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, and the winner of that is Bridget Hewitt.
Yay.
Let me write that down. Congratulations, Bridget. Let me do one more and then we'll get to some questions. And if you guys, while you're here, if you guys don't mind just writing your questions in the chat, it can be about writing, it can be about CHD, it can be pretty much about anything. Or if you aren't able to do that, you can raise your hand and do it on audio as well. Okay, sorry. It's hard to do 10 things at once. Okay, the next person is going to win a copy of my Wonderline book. Not mine, but it's called My Wonderline Book. And I think I have that one. Let me grab it so you can see. It's a darling book. And it's by Vicki Gooden. So let's see who the winner of that is. And the winner is Ashley Mowry. Congratulations. Okay, so after I write this down, do we have any questions in the chat?
We do have one, yes.
Okay, do you want to read it? So we
Yeah.
can-
This is from Christina Dolan.
Okay.
Says, my heart warrior is 2, so our journey is still fairly new. Have you seasoned heart mamas? How have you seasoned heart mamas coped with letting your heart warrior have a normal childhood? Also, how do you help siblings with all the commotion of having a heart sibling?
Does anybody, if you want to answer it, maybe just put your hand up and I'll pick a couple people that would like to. Does any? Okay, Susan, do you want to go first?
I've been at this a long, long time, and Nick is the youngest of my 4, and they were really close together. If Nick had been born 3 weeks earlier, I'd have had 4 children under the age of 4. So I know about siblings. Nick was very much treated like the rest of our children, with the exception of intermissions. And when he came back home, he was treated like the rest of them. He had chores, he had expectations. A lady told me at a very young age that people are compassionate toward children that have extra problems, but they don't like spoiled children with extra problems. And I was determined that Nick would not live in a bubble, and that he would do everything that he could to be as normal as possible. And the only thing that he was not allowed to do was play football, but he participated as the manager of the football team. And he water skis and he snow skis, and he wrestled in high school. And I told him he had to have a lifelong sport of some kind, and he picked up tennis. And he doesn't necessarily play it now, but he knows how to. And so it's as much your attitude as a parent as it is their abilities as a parent. And I did not let Nick be treated differently. I didn't go ahead of him and say, oh, he's really, really fragile, be careful with him. I told the teacher, if he has some trouble and he says he's having problems, then you stop and talk to him, but don't not make him do it because he was a heart patient. And that included running the mile in high school. He did not do that well, but he did do it.
That's a great answer. Debbie, was it you that had your hand raised too? Okay.
Yeah, it's a great question. So my daughter Sammy is now 17, and like we're in the college search now, right? So I'm about to end the on-site parenting portion of my parenting life, and I can say that we're very lucky in that her particular defect was reparable, right? So she's good. And it doesn't affect her daily life, but it did for the first 9 years of her life. The lasting effect of it for her is that she is very small. I'm not a real big person, but she's 4'9" and she's done. And so that's the thing that I think has lingered. Other than that, she remembers that all of the kind of stuff that went on when she was little as just one of the aspects of her growing up, not unlike a lot of other things that felt big to her when she was growing up, things about her experiences, becoming a bat mitzvah when she was 12 and, going from elementary school to middle school and all of those things. It's just one other thing she remembers. She did really like being known for having some connection to heart disease world in elementary school, because they did the American Heart Association jump rope for heart in her elementary school. And her gym teacher asked if she wanted to talk about what it was like to have heart surgery. And she loved it, my little ham. She got up there and told everybody what it was like to go to be in the hospital. And she explained exactly how her heart worked and where her aorta was compared to everybody else's and what the surgery was like. And we didn't treat it like something to be afraid of. And we explained every single bit of it to her as it was happening. So it wasn't this great mystery. As far as how we parented her big sister, she has a sister who's 3 years older. We did make some special efforts to do things alone with her, especially during times when Sammy's diet was really limited. There were several times in her life, which is well detailed in the book, when it was nice to be able to take her big sister out and get the kinds of foods that we couldn't eat at home, or just to make sure we were checking in with her to let her know that while Sammy needed a lot of extra attention around some of this health stuff, that didn't mean that her big sister Ronnie didn't deserve special attention just for being our kid and living in our home and being someone we loved. And so just taking the time to name those things, to say, wow, your sister's getting a lot of attention right now. I'm sure you're noticing that. You need anything? Are you okay? How are you doing? That kind of stuff. I don't think it takes a lot. I think it just takes being really open and honest, both with the kid who's got the CHD and the kid who doesn't.
I would agree. I feel like too, when my son Finn had his heart surgeries, we didn't know anything was wrong right off the bat. So we didn't even find out what was going on with him until about 18 months. And so our story is a little different than many, because many are diagnosed even in utero. But I think a huge help for me was finding books to help discuss things in kind of a lighter, more fun manner. And there weren't a lot out there. And so I had a hard time finding those resources. My son had a lot of anxiety. He still does with medical stuff because he had so many tests and so many procedures and so many varying specialists and doctors. And I feel like YouTube videos were a huge help on showing him, okay, this is what you're going to have done. It's a swallow study. There's big machines, but it's not going to hurt you, and those kind of things helped make things easier for him. And it might not work like that for everybody, but that did help him because he felt more prepared for what things were going to come. I didn't have my other son, and he's younger, so Finn was my only child at the time. I do now, even to this day, have some troubles delegating my time equally, because if my heart warrior gets sick, it's a lot more severe and limiting than my youngest child. But I do try to give him his own time, kind of like these two ladies suggested, so that he feels important. And kind of like Debbie said, I just like to try to be as open as I can and explain that, sometimes things are harder for some people, and certain things are going to be hard for my heart warrior, and certain things might be hard for my other child too. So I try to just explain that we're all different and we're all going to have struggles. And I think one positive that can come out of CHDs is, I tell my heart warrior Finn, now you've been through such hard things, you can get through anything. Like the sky is the limit, because you've gone through more medical stuff than me. You've gone through more medical stuff than a huge amount of people, I would say. And you've not only gone through it, but you've gone through it amazingly well, with a wonderful attitude and amazing personality. And I think that's super important to kind of empower kids and let them know that they are the ones getting through these hard challenges. They are the ones that are strong. And so they can kind of be empowered to continue to get through difficult things and know that they can do, the sky's the limit, basically. So does anybody else have any comments on this question? Maybe oh, sorry.
No, yeah.
Talking.
The only thing I would add with siblings is creating opportunities for them to bond. I think sometimes with siblings, one can maybe grow resentful of the other or be jealous of the other when it comes to like all the attention that the heart warrior is getting. Or if the heart warrior is not getting the attention that they're used to, then they get upset about it. So what we have found that really helps is creating opportunities for them to do things, just the two of them, that they can team together in, whether it's a craft or it's, we do an extra hour before bedtime where it's just the two of them. There's no iPads on or anything. They have to go play in each other's rooms for an hour before bedtime. It's just really helps form that bond between the two of them.
I think that's definitely a good part of it for sure. Okay, so the next giveaway is going to be a copy of the little panda and her super heart. So let's see who the winner of that is. Okay, and the winner is Julianne Noala. I think is how you say that, but I could have said it completely wrong. Let's see, let me write that down really quick. Okay, so the next thing we're going to give away, is a copy of Super Scar by Melanie Tucker. And let's see who wins that. The winner of that is Julie Collier, I think is how you say it. So congratulations, guys. All right, is there any more questions in the chat?
Yeah, we do have another one. This one's for Faith specifically.
Okay.
It says, what would your best advice be to parents of young children with CHD?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that we know that this is hard and we know that this is not an ideal situation. We don't expect you guys to make it perfect for us. We know that there's no perfect solution, perfect answer. But I think that the biggest thing or biggest piece of advice that I would say is to focus more on what your heart warrior can do versus what they can't do. An example of that is sports. So like growing up, I couldn't play sports physically. And I know that that's different for every warrior, but for me, I couldn't. And so my mom said, oh, it's okay. I didn't play sports either. I wasn't coordinated. And so it flipped that switch in my mind that, oh, like people don't always play sport. And so I found other ways to get involved. I was very involved in the music program all throughout school. And then once senior year hit, I couldn't play basketball, but my best friend was on the basketball team. And so I did manager for that. And so I think that would be my biggest piece of advice.
That's great.
Okay, let's do a couple more giveaways. I already spun this so I could get ahead of things and not take up all the time. But the next book that we're going to give away is the Steal the Reaper. Do you have that with you, Todd? You could hold up so they can see it. It's by Todd Hosey. And I'm glad you pronounced your name because I've been in my head calling you Todd Hosea. So now I know how to say your name. Let's
it's been
see
butchered
the winner.
for centuries.
Okay, so the winner of that one is Tracy Bulk.
All right, congratulations, Tracy.
Okay, and then after that is, let's see, a print copy of Nick's New Heart, 30 Years and Counting. Do you have that one, Susan, or no? Well, it's a beautiful book and it's one that was read tonight. So let's see who wins that one. Oh, you're okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that winner is Elizabeth Harris.
Yay.
Congratulations, Elizabeth. Okay, was there any more questions in the chat?
No, there's no one that I can see.
Okay.
Making sure I didn't miss it. Okay.
Okay. I have some questions too that I just thought we could answer for people. my question, and anybody can answer this that wants to, what is the biggest positive value you have gained from getting thrown into this CHD world that you live in? Any takers to go first?
I'll go.
Okay.
I would say the number one thing is strength. In addition to that, resilience, endurance. We have no choice but to face it, right? And especially the heart warriors, they really don't have a choice. But as parents, when you are forced to put your child through something that is traumatic, it really tests your resolve. And you really have to find a way to see what is the good that is coming from this for them, and then what's the good that's coming from it for us as well. And I think the most positive thing is that it's made all of us, Harding and Audrey and Tom and I, stronger people.
I think that's a huge part of it, that something positive that you can take from this. Does anybody else want to touch on this one?
I agree with Kat. Just to totally piggyback off of that, I think on top of personally, as a first time mom, the strength that it gave me to know that I'm a good mom, that I'm doing the right things for her, and that the strength in my relationship with my husband, and even I think my relationship with my daughter. I don't look at so whoever had asked about the young children, my daughter is only 2.5 right now, and so she's still very close to all of her trauma, and I think being there for her and being able to support her and talk with her about the situations and everything that she's going through just reassures that my confidence in what I'm doing. And like Kat said, the strength that we have, you step above more than what you thought you could ever handle, and this is thrown at you, and you are stronger than you ever thought you were. And I think that it also is the community, kind of switching gears, is this is a whole community that I never knew really existed. I had heard of CHD, but I never was intimately involved with it. And so the community is just a beautiful, supportive, loving community. And so I think that's also another really shocking benefit. And the fact that my book, to be honest, my entire career has changed. I'm a pediatric sleep consultant, and I wrote a book, all of it because of my daughter's CHD. I left my corporate job, my entire life has changed because of it. So there's always the silver linings in trying to find the positive in the darkness.
Awesome. Anybody else? I would say community too, personally. I think I never really, kind of like Karen just said, I never really understood the power with all these amazing people that have gone through all the same or similar struggles to me. And it's just amazing support system. When my son was having his second surgery, I sought out Facebook groups because his heart defect was rare, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I was scared to death. And I really figured out that I could be an advocate. And I've always been kind of introverted and shy, and I kind of pulled that out of myself because I had to. And so in a way that might not have ever happened if I wasn't thrown in this journey. And I met Debbie Lewis while my son had his second heart surgery. We met in the same Facebook group, and she came and brought my son. I'll never forget it. These things stick with you forever, just the little things that people do, but she brought us some fruit from a fruit market, and she brought my son a little Play-Doh toy, and just having that heart mom that had been there, done that, knew what I was going through was just amazing to me. So that's the blessing I think that I've gotten out of it.
Can I piggyback
Susan?
a little?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick one. I certainly could not agree more that it's been wonderful to meet other people and to see the support around it. And for any parents who are listening, I wish I would have met all these people like on vacation in the beach in the Caribbean somewhere, instead of having all of this happen to our kids and have this be the way we met. And I think it's okay to say, like, yeah, there are gifts in this, and also I wish it hadn't happened. I think that there's a lot of encouragement of parents to just like look for the blessings in all of this. And I think I'm someone who believes there's blessings in everything, but also that it's okay to just say, I wish I could have gotten this experience, had this feeling of love, had this feeling of community come from something that didn't hurt my baby. So in case anybody's thinking that.
Susan, did you want to touch on this too?
Yeah, my strength and belief in God became stronger. And I figured out, well, I didn't figure out, I had to believe in something else that was directing our life, because there was not a way to justify Nick's issues without that. And there was no community like this at all. I mean, there was no Facebook. There was no internet when Nick was born. So no books written. I looked through libraries to try to find something, and there was nothing there on any level other than in a medical journal. And which is refreshing that people have something to fall on now through this group especially. And that was part of the reason for writing Nick's book also. But I also, we very much had a community of doctors and nurses that dearly loved Nick, still dearly love Nick, and he's long past pediatrics, to the point that they have been to birthday parties. They've been to a nurse went with all of my children to Whitewater, and stopped by and left Christmas presents at 2 a.m. on her way to her family's Christmas, and a heart surgeon and an anesthesiologist that have shown up for anniversaries and birthdays and had dinner at our home. There's a whole world of people that would never have entered my life or blessed my life if it hadn't have been for Nick. Now, would I have gone out and lobbied for Nick to have had all the medical issues he's had? No, never do that. But there are blessings in that. And I think my other children are better people for having Nick as a sibling and more empathetic. And I think my husband and I are too. It's a rough road, but there's always a silver lining around it somewhere. And I don't want Nick to know it, but I really like having him around. And that, even he and I, we go to college basketball games together, and take my word for it, if you're a mother that has a son in their early 30s that will go to a basketball game with you, that's a real blessing not everybody gets. So yeah, there's good things, and you have to look at those silver linings to overlook the really rotten part of it.
Todd has to go, everybody.
Okay, thanks
Oh.
for coming, Todd.
Bye, Todd.
Appreciate it.
Todd.
Bye, everybody. It was good to see you. Thanks for having me tonight.
Thank you for coming, Todd.
Bye.
Amy, did you want to touch on this too?
briefly, I mean, I echo everybody, with what everybody said, and I will also add to that with my culture, it's, we don't talk about anything, everything is just swept underneath the rug, and if it's like, see no evil, hear no evil, talk no evil kind of thing. And so growing up, it was a double-edged sword where we didn't talk about my CHD, so therefore I felt normal, thought I was normal, but in not talking about it, I was isolated. And I will say that, being a part of this community and learning so much about the CHD world has been eye-opening. I didn't realize how many CHDs there were. I didn't a lot of people, I thought it was like a one and done like me, but to hear that Faith had 8 open heart surgeries or 8 heart surgeries, that just blows my mind. So it made me also have a bigger appreciation for my family, my parents, specifically my mom, who did everything she could for me. And it also made me appreciate myself because, yay, pat on the back kind of thing for the heart warriors out there, because we have been through a lot. And, you grow up thinking you're othered and you don't belong, you're not normal, but we've survived so much. So yeah, it's a huge thing to be appreciated and appreciate of people who cared for us. So I didn't think I was going to cry today. Sorry.
Aw. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, for sure. Well, let's do a couple more giveaway and lighten the mood so Amy doesn't cry. Then
Don't let me
let's
talk
see.
anymore.
No, we love you. Okay, so the next winner is going to win a signed copy of the Echoes of Joy devotional series, or Death by Dice, a Bunko Club mystery. So it's the winner's choice by Stacy Monty. And the winner of that one is Christina Dolan. So congratulations, Christina.
Nice.
And the next book is Snow in Vietnam by Amy Lee. And the winner of that one is Shannon Brazier. Congratulations, Brazier. Or congratulations, Shannon Brazier. My goodness. Okay, so let's do one more. A signed copy of My Scars, My Brave Adventure. And I don't have that one, and she's not here, but it's a darling book. And spell check changed the name to a really weird one. So let me go back and look at my screenshot. It's Lynn Geyer, I think is how you say it. Let me write that down so I don't get confused, because it changed it to Lung Geyer. Okay, so congratulations. So maybe one more question I would like to ask would be,
We do have one in the chat.
oh, perfect. Then let's do that one.
Yeah, if authors, make sure you're checking the chat, because there's some specific comments for you.
Okay.
But they're not questions, they're more like, I love your book and what it's done for me. This question is from Carrie Cummings, and she says, has anyone in here had more than one child with medical issues, like a heart warrior and something else, or even 2 heart warriors? How did you cope with the news of the second child being medically ill? I'm only asking because we have a heart warrior that's turning 2 March 2nd, and we just had a miscarriage at 13 weeks and 4 days with a little boy who had LUTO, lower urinary tract obstruction. I'm afraid to try again. Actually, so our oldest, Audrey, she had medical issues when she was born. Not ones that we knew about at birth. But she, I guess when she was a toddler, maybe 1.5, she wasn't speaking, and we didn't know why. And so we took her to get her ears tested, and turned out her eardrums weren't working. Literally no function whatsoever. And so we didn't really quite know what to do or what that meant. We were like, does that mean she's deaf? Like, what is what's happening right now? And they didn't really know either. And so they did a lot of tests. And while they were running tests, we were praying a ton, and just asking God to heal her. And it was 30 days of that testing and not really knowing what was going on. And she at the end, when they did another test, they found out that her eardrums were perfectly back to normal. And our family attributed that to God's healing. But she has had issues because she couldn't hear for the first year and a half of her life. And so it has required a lot of speech therapy, and it's had, a lot of impact on her social and behavioral issues. She's been on a IEP for a while, so it's not quite as intense as Harding's medical issue is. So I don't have two kids that have really intense medical issues, but it is a challenge. What it becomes for me is very triggering whenever my kids get sick with anything. It could be a cold, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my body just starts to sweat and I start to shake because it just is anxious about what is to come. It remembers that fear of getting the news that there's something wrong with your child. And to have gone through that twice with both of my kids, it initially made me feel very dysfunctional. There's something wrong with me. It's my fault. I'm doing this to my children because I can't birth normal children, But I've worked through a lot of that through therapy and my relationship with God. It has also required me I had to leave my full-time career and stay at home. I still work full-time now, but as an author and CHD advocate and all that stuff. But I get to do it all from home, which makes me available for all the doctor's appointments. I was just telling Tom this the other day. I feel like doctor's appointments are part of my full-time job. I go for both of my kids all the time and for myself. Every week almost there's a doctor appointment or some kind of therapy. But I think the most important thing as a mom in the middle of all of that has been getting therapy and having someone that you can go and talk to about how hard it is, and someone who's just there for you. That's their only job, is to listen to you and encourage you. That has been really beneficial. And then the other is just being around other moms who have kids with medical issues. I live in a neighborhood where I have, oh gosh, like 10 families that I've known for like 20 years or something, like known them all for a really long time. Not one of them has a sick kid. And it is very isolating and at times. So it just made it essential for me to find other moms who have doctor's appointments every week and who can't go to girls' night out because, for X, Y, or Z medical reason because of my kid, or because I'm going through a season where I'm having anxiety with leaving my kids. There's the only people that can understand that are other moms that are going through it. And so I would just encourage you to find community. There's Facebook groups I think are great. And also even reaching out over Instagram. There's a lot of moms who are sharing their journey, and direct message them. Say, hey, I'm going through the same thing. Like, do you want to talk about it? Kind of deal. So yeah, I don't know if that's super helpful because again, it's not too severely medically ill children, but that's been my experience.
I jump in here too.
Yeah.
So my older daughter doesn't have any kind of congenital heart defect, but she did have some health challenges that were scary, and also just like you said, Jenny, like triggering, and I felt like, or Kat, sorry, Kat, you're the one who said that. They're just remembering, made you remember and brought you back into those moments. And I recall the genetic testing when when Sammy, my younger daughter, was born, because she was so small. We didn't know she had a heart defect, but she was really tiny at birth and late. And so they did all this genetic testing, and a doctor, and they found nothing exciting or interesting in the genetic testing. And I asked, why is she so small then? And the doctor said, I don't know, bad incubator, I guess. And that phrase gutted me for a decade. I felt like it was my fault. In the end, after again talking, like you said, with a therapist, talking with actually her pediatrician and other doctors, that just wasn't true. It wasn't anything I did. There are lots of babies who are born small. She's just little. And what I did or didn't do during pregnancy wasn't why she ended up with a heart defect. I don't carry any genetic markers for heart defects, if even such a thing exists. And I think knowing that and really like absorbing that and believing it really helped it helped me heal that fear. And so I think, for the person who's asking this question, like, I'm afraid to do it again, is it something that's going to keep happening? I think it can only help to ask doctors, help me understand what happened and why my first child has this challenge, and whether I need to worry about this with future pregnancies, or whether you just had some terrible, terrible luck. And that's not your fault. So that's what helped me, is just knowing for sure, understanding that there is science behind, these answers that doctors can give you, and then making your decision with all the knowledge you have. And like many people have said, a little bit of faith.
I think those are great answers. Was there more questions in this chat? If not, we'll take a break.
None that I see.
Okay, so let me do some more giveaway winners then. Okay, so the next thing is an autographed copy of the book. Oh wait, nope, we already did that. Sorry about that. Hold on one second. A signed copy of My Scar is Beautiful. And I have that too, I think. Yep. It's this one right here. And the winner of that is Michelle Sullivan. So congratulations, Michelle. And the next one is a copy of my book, Extra Special Heart, and a little bear stuffy with a little heart. And I don't have the bear stuffy. And that winner is Cheyenne Smith. So congratulations, Cheyenne Smith. The next giveaway is affirmation cards. And the winner of that is Jenny Chen. So congratulations. Okay, copy of Rainbows and Storms and Heart Family sticker. And that's this one here. And the winner of that one is Brooke Terry. Congratulations. Okay, copy of Kitchen Medicine and 2 bookmarks. And the winner of that one is Victoria Jackson. Congratulations. Okay, one more, and I don't have a copy of this, but it's a copy of A Heart on Valentine's Day by Haley Stimel, and the winner of that is T-Nell Page. So congratulations. Let's see. Okay, so I think I went through all of them now as far as giveaways go. I might ask just a couple more questions if nobody else has any in the chat. If somebody does pop up, let me know.
Okay.
But I think we've touched a lot on the positivity. And as Debbie said, this is a hard journey to go through. And it's not happy and just feeling positive all the time. Me personally, I've kind of gone in and out with grief, depression, anxiety. There's days I feel like I'm on top of the world and I can take on anything. And there's days where I just want to break down and cry and lock myself in a room. And that's years after my son's last heart surgery. You know, it's kind of just a long journey, and it takes a long time to heal. So I wanted to kind of ask if there's anybody that wants to chime in, what was a dark time for you and how did you pull through it? Like, what was something that you did that helped get you out of that dark time? Does anybody want to touch on this one?
Sorry, like my computer, we lost power.
Oh,
so
you're
I
good.
like signed back in, and like my computer with the video is in the wrong spot, and I'm looking at you guys anyway. I'm sorry, it looks all goofy from where I'm at right now.
You're good.
To answer the question, I had really bad PTSD afterwards. Like, I actually had like reflux had started, and like I felt like someone was choking me from the stress of it, and I broke out an eczema, which I never had before, and I really found a lot of comfort in the book. Like, I really put my heart and soul into it. Really being there with her, and finding an outlet of positive resource of the community, of being with my husband and with my daughter, and I really threw myself into the book, and that was really my cathartic way of healing. And really just seeing the time passes and things get a little, you'll always still have to see the cardiologist. That will never go away, but to see that, when you're home, things are a little different, and over time things get a little different, but it's your new normal. It gets a little easier.
I think for me, and I agree, I had a lot of bad PTSD because part of it, I think, stemmed from not knowing my son had a heart defect, but deep down knowing something was wrong and nobody being able to tell me what that was. So then I kind of got constantly anxious because I felt like I was the siren alarm that was going to save his life. And I still do that to this day, where I'll fixate, just look at him. Oh my God, why are you doing that weird thing with your mouth? What's this new thing you're doing when you sleep? Like, it's just like, I notice every little change, and then I psychoanalyze it to the point where I just make myself a nervous wreck. And I don't know, like, I still feel like I'm on a healing journey. I feel like I've healed in a lot of ways, but I also have not completely healed, and I don't know that I ever will completely heal. But I would say the thing that's helped me the most would be just like charity in my time. So like doing stuff for others and trying to help make them feel better, whether it be doing a book drive or talking to people like this, or writing has also helped me a lot because it helps me get my thoughts down on paper. So almost like a journal type thing where I can kind of let things go. My husband, he gave me really good advice when I was really struggling before my son's second surgery. He told me to write my story how I wanted it to occur instead of worrying so much. And so instead of, what if this happens, and what if this happens, and what if my son doesn't make it, or, that kind of awful things that your mind goes to, I tried to block out by writing down on paper, this is what I want to happen. My son's going to have surgery. He's going to recover. We're going to be okay. We're going to heal as a family. And I wrote it in detail, kind of like I was writing my own story. And then doing that, I really think it helped me change my thought pattern instead of jumping right into the negative. So whenever I caught myself jumping to those negative thoughts, I would just hurry and write it down to change into more of a positive role. So that was very helpful for me as well. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add?
Susan does. She's
Yeah,
on
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I the most dismal time of my life, I'm sure, was when we found out about Nick, and I was told how bad things were. But well, that wasn't the worst actually. And there was anxiousness about waiting on a heart transplant because he wasn't going to live without one, and that was completely dependent on negative things happening to others, which was not not what you want, out of life. But and I understand all of that, the ramifications around that. But it from the beginning, when Nick's first heart surgery, which was a Norwood procedure, my prayer was, do we want him to live and become a member of the family, which he is now, which it would be a lot more devastating now to lose him than it would have ever have been as a 1 or 5-day-old child. Or do we lose him and say, we had a precious one that didn't make it? And so those were great debates. More than once, I've lived my life thinking, is he breathing? Is he breathing? Are we going to wake up the next morning? And, a lot of parents don't do that. And now that he's away and lives in his own home, you don't think about that much, as much. But if things aren't going well or get rocky, those feelings come back very swiftly, unfortunately. But when Nick was 19, he had a aortic aneurysm on the original place where they had done the Norwood procedure. And it was beyond horrible. Endocarditis, he was sick. He'd been sick for months and they couldn't find it. And if you rolled up every 4 and 5 heart surgeries and a heart transplant, a broken arm, chicken pox, the whole 9 yards, it didn't even come close to what that aneurysm did. Because there again at 19, it involved a family unit. It involved his brothers and sisters, and they did not remember him being so sick. And now they had a brother that was at the point of death. And I mean, even the point of death on the operating room table. And so the dynamics of that was so much different than it was when Nick was born. But, you go through your seasons and you get prepared and you do what you have to do. And then you go back to life and you choose whether you're happy or you're sad, and whether you appreciate what you've been given or you worry about something you don't ever know that hasn't happened or may not ever happen. And so, now my worries are, if you call them worries, my concerns are leaving a wife widowed and a daughter without a father, which are real realities. But maybe they won't. My goal has always been to outlive Nick. And, I always said I didn't care when he died as long as it was after me. And I'm going to live to be 110. So, there you go. But I don't think worries as parents, whether your kids are well kids or sick kids, they're your kids. It doesn't matter. You still care. and everybody takes a dip and every kid gets a turn. So, you know, there'll be, I have the knucklehead son when he was a teenager, and you know, the crazy daughter now has 5 kids, and you know, everybody gets their own opportunity. Nick's just happened to be medical.
Well, I think we're going to kind of wrap things up. I appreciate all the authors that have come. Thank you so much for coming and giving your advice and sharing your books with us. I've loved hearing all your guys' stories. And thank you for everybody who's joined us and asked questions and listened to our books. We love sharing our stories with you. And there's lots of resources now, you know, you know, some of them now. And I'm going to try to put together like maybe an Amazon list with all of our books and try to share that too, so that people can find them easily if they want to purchase. And I'll try to link that in the 2 YouTube links from the readings, so that it's easy to find these books that you've watched the readings for. And there's various, like most of us are a part of the Heart. Actually, I think all of us here are a part of the Heart Community Collection. And that's a great resource. It's just www.theheartcommunity. Right now, am I saying this wrong? theheartcommunitycollection.com. It's been a long day. So go on there and you can see all even more books that weren't even shown as well. And she continues to add various heart warriors and various CHD moms and dads that have written books as well on there. And there is a CHD Mamas book group as well. I'll try to do like a list of links if I can when we post this on YouTube for resources. And we just all want to say thank you for joining us, and keep going, keep doing your journey. You're doing better, I think, than you guys will ever know. And we're here for you if you need support. So thank you so much, guys. Thanks for having us. Bye. Have a good night and have a good weekend.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you.